When I sing to the river,
66, the blue black.
the river sings back to me.
Find the fire.
I can hear the voices calling.
Take things into your own hands to take
From the time when time began. I can feel its cooling water, turning rocks to grains of sand. Long ago spirits are asking, what of my story do you know? Long ago.
C. Clouds of coffee cream visions, clearer than cannabis-induced cerebral cortex collisions. Don't confuse my confidence for charisma. I'm a cackling crow in a crowd of chickens. Call me cool like colors cascading into a carousel whirlwind, a calypso breeze, aromatic like cumin. Kiss my caffeinated lips, this beauty only falls for true friends. Love and life are not confined to the collapsing conundrums of a cliché cadence. Choruses and cries and champagne lights that taste like cherry cola, C-O-L-A cola, la 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 la. Kinky like Ray Davies, a cannon coming, leaving calico corpses across the courses of cremated forces. You want my chemistry? Don't coerce me. Instead, compel me with dreams of unceasing ecstasy. I'm not a concubine. Never secondary. I'm catching mine like caterpillars and butterflies. Cast away ordinary. Shun it like ostracism. Curse the common chameleons conforming to the millions. I kick it with chupacabras and centaurs. I'm a crazy cat. Cuff, I'm never wrong. I'm chugging down a carafe of sweet punch mixed with a callous confession of flaws. Calibrated cadavers follow my footsteps in a centipede crawl. I am capital, the crest of the best, at the zenith of it all. I am C, curly conniption, contemplating no constrictions. I'm unconditioned. I am C. This is my conviction.
I hope this will inspire you. Write, my darling, you must always write. Even when thoughts seem to disappear, you will always have the ability to dream. A pen will never need sharpening, and if you have lost yours, I keep a spare in my pocket for the very instance of loss. Oh, love, my darling, you must always know love. You will always have a need. Sometimes you only need to believe in yourself. And if you can't believe, just ask me. I have enough belief for the both of us, for all of us. We must keep our chins above water. We must wade through the rough moments. It is the only way. Deep inside, you have everything you need, everything anyone will ever want. You only have to look. Always keep your eyes open before you miss out on yourself. At the very least, dream, my darling. You must always dream. Even when everything else is bleak, you will always have the ability to be.
For all the sisters who are forced to play mom. This poem is for all the sisters who are forced to play mom. Because mom was working and dad was too, but the kids still needed someone's devoted love and attention. For Taiwo, who dished out bowls of tricky rice for her brothers every afternoon and made sure the little one finished his homework before playing video games. And when her father grew angry at the older one, she stood between them to protect her twin. For Brittany, who consoled my tantrums, taught me how to make mac and cheese, who told me mommy didn't mean it whenever she was angry at me. For Retta, who is gentle with her autistic brother, who is nonverbal, rushes into her bedroom to change the song we were listening to. She tried to change it back, but she gave up, and the three of us danced together. For Lauren, who cleaned the house every time her older brother had his friends over to party. For Desiree, who works 2 jobs and has her own kids, but pays to keep up the house in her father's name. For Tasia, who helped her brothers get dressed for church each Sunday before the van picked them up, because their parents weren't coming with. For Jamisa, who braided my hair while her finger was injured so I looked good for my father's wedding, and who forgave me when I couldn't ever forgive myself. For myself, in elementary, walking to school with my little sister, the track star who walks too fast, I'd hurry my pace to keep her in sight, make sure she's safe. And today, reminding her that she is worth celebrating. This poem is to sisters who got us fed, tucked us in bed, and relieve us of the dread of not knowing when parents are coming back. This poem is to sisters who are told they grew up too fast, even though their childhood didn't last past the moment they started disciplining their own siblings. This poem is to the sisters who do without being asked, because who else is gonna? Somebody needs to get it done. And while the sisters who are forced to play mom may work miracles, they may be the strongest ones. Their dreams are dashed and sacrificed before life has even begun. They are just little girls who take on the labor of grown folks well before they learned how to even ask for help. They protect, though they are not protected. They soothe, though they are not assured. And they will love, and they will love, and they will love without ever being affirmed. This poem is to affirm you sisters, whom now may be mothers of their own. I know those children are blessed. Your steady presence saved so many, and you don't even know. And though there is nothing I can say to stop you from taking it on, it shouldn't have ever been your burden. This poem is soft fingers stroking your forehead, telling you it's okay. This poem is prayer that my sisters finally find some rest. The good, deep kind that restores your muscles and bones and your whole entire soul. May you be released of constant duty and finally find yourself free.
In waiting to be found. I wanted someone to pick me up and brush off the dust. I wanted to be held, to be had, an object of love, of time, your object of affection, un obélix de connexion, a blessing from a handkerchief blowing in the wind. In the mirrors, I was an abstract, nothing more than a dime. I let myself be carried by anyone who'd see, anyone who'd grasp. I allowed myself to be taken, to be thrown, to be forgotten. And I stopped there, and I wondered if I'd ever be remembered. It rained, and I thought that I'd drown. Instead, I found that I am human, and then found myself walking around, moving away from all I've known. What is broken? What is whole. No longer waiting nor stagnant, I cannot be gathered up. And now, when I look into the mirrors, I only see myself.
Call me a home. Why am I always watching boring TV instead of writing poems about my ancestors? Sitting lost in this foggy dream, I'm trying too hard to live my life without them. Alone on my own, nothing to do but stay doubting. But shoo, sometimes I just be feeling like my grandma, Minnie Wilson, is bored in this body. And her ma, Rebecca Paget, is bored in this body. And her man, Norman Wilson, is bored in this body. And they ma, Henrietta, is bored. I hear them off chattering as they strut around this house, the living room and kitchen, resting on my bed by their altar. Charmaine is done stuck and broken, floating like a ghost in this empty space. This picnic done need to wake up. Done need to shake off the dust off them achy bones and dance, stomp them feet, twerk out their bum, clap them hands, anything other than this sitting nonsense. Sinking slow, low, them clavicles done sunk. Tain't too hard to light a candle, drop $1, shake a jar. This picnic ain't getting too far. Then my daddy's daddy, Martin George Porter, pipes in with, "What you want, Shawmy? Just tell us, baby, what you want?" Forever finding myself squirming on this used couch, I tell him, I just want to be at home, to know you. I want to remember my grandmama's touch. I want answers to my questions. Where is safety? What is shelter? How do I love this body that so many hate? I want to stop forgetting that I am possible to love. And now I'm crying, a little baby once more waiting to be held. I pulled down the couch blanket, the one my Auntie Michelle sewed, and wrap it around my shoulders. 1 Peter 5:7 is written in the corner, and when I wipe my eyes with it, it's my grandpappy Martin who wipes them. He say to me, "Wipe that Porter nose and them eyes, you know them my eyes. Sit up straight like your grandma, you know you got her look. Shawmy, you got to love this body. 'Cause Minnie Wilson loves this body. Rebecca Paget loves this body. Norman Wilson loves this body. Henrietta loves you. And I, Martin George Porter, do too."
Hive Mind. Who was I in my past life that the bees will not sting me? It's not as though they ignore. With them, my presence is acknowledged, though never attacked. Today, a yellow jacket landed on my nose, meandered across my hand, said hello, and flew away. I sipped my water and nodded goodbye. I wondered why I was so deserving. Who am I that I'm not stung? Not even once. Is it just my understanding of fear, my gentle behavior towards the defensive? Or maybe endangered species just have a mutual respect. We know that survival means interdependence. We know that while life is suffering, it does not mean we must be cause just because we can. I do not know why the bees keep me, but I could stand still for 1,000 moments for the greeting of 1,000 bees. And I know deep down inside that after all is said and done, I'd be still for one moment more.
Belonging. I can belong to this earth, can belong to the ground and plant my feet in it. I can grow and spread my toes like roots and my limbs like branches. Soak up the sun. The whole world spins in its beams while I rise, sink, and esteem. All I have to do is breathe.
I got no reason, but I'm living, laughing and breathing. I got no reason, no reason.
I do not own any of it. We do not own any of it. Cannot control, cannot overpower or overthrow. No matter how many times a human says so, we cannot contain glory in our hands, cannot trap beauty in a box. How can you label the order of a rose? Splendor is everything. Splendor is everything you have never even considered. You cannot define it or an object. Language is useless. Words cannot embody emotion. The way I feel when the wind brushes against me, when the rivers laugh with me, and when the fire burns inside me, it will rage against the dictionary, eating up definitions and implications, the construction of dictations. I am here.
No reason,
To tear down towers.
no reason.
Because I belong to the earth, and she is not Atlas, cannot carry nations on her back and sustain it.
But I'm living, laughing and breathing. I got no reason, no reason, no reason.
Industry is a gaping wound across her face. Concrete jungles, parking lots, hot showers, money spent, money owed, money stole, fast food, media, civilization, cell phones, the internet. Their comfort is a gaping wound across her face. Their comfort is a gaping wound across her face. They pour our bodies into the gash-provoking infection that eats away at the surface and spreads. I believe in an earth indescribable, a world washed with God's grace, where I can listen to the hush wind stir the gentle grass and understand that I am not alone. I am not one, not without all the rest, not without the dirt and scum and bugs, nor the dogs, the lions, nor fish, not without the trees, their leaves, the fruit, and the root. We are all particles floating in space. Without the pull of the earth's breath, all would spread apart and dissipate. So let the earth's gravity do its job in grounding us. To belong here, we only have to breathe.
No reason, no reason.
About a poetess. Sometimes I wake up feeling heavy, and I think that is me I am carrying. My body is stiff and swollen and aching, always must be hauled. But then I open my eyes and look out to the world and see my hands are empty of myself, filled instead with airy whiffs of communal grieving. A creator's passing leaves an empty space in all degrees, wiping a circle of the cold slate clean, unbearing hidden black gems underneath. It is the day after. Yesterday was the last day of celebrating a month of dedicating. I was merely a fading streak on the horizon of something far greater than the sea. She held the earth in its entirety, without shame, without dearth. Not a poet, just poetry, just words, just feeling, just the knowing and the not knowing, just the rhythm, just the summing up, just the praise and just the worship, just the power, rich, dark, settled present. Even the day after, even in death, she is here guarding all that she has sculpted with voice and pen. Perhaps she has finished one task, but she continues striving forward in her rest.
In the garden. After a day of working in the garden, pulling out the weeds that have been neglected and left to grow, their roots deep into rich soil, my mother asks me, how am I supposed to just let it go? Her pain, like the chickweed and dead nettle roots, has sunken deep, and it's choking. I answer, you have to get to the source. The only way is to dig deep and confront the root of the issue. But after a long day of pulling up roots, only to find more and more buried underneath, I must realize that the only way means tearing apart the entire plot. It means digging 6 feet deep and pulling up all the rocks. It means being mindful of the worms and throwing out the snails. And when all seems ravaged and irreparable, and you've really made a mess of it all, it means mustering up the energy to rake the ground back over and begin planting seeds. Earlier in the garden, as my mother and I worked together, she unraveled our shared histories, revealing thorns that have been left to fester, familial wounds, and me. I discovered more roots to tug. As she yanked and prodded, I dug my own fingers into the earth. I dug into my mother with questions and needs to knows. Sifting for answers, the roots I found were fat and far-reaching, snaking their way into the plots that did not belong to us. And as I pulled, I sensed a clearing of space. And then there was a violet, only just sprouting its green spades, the vibrant purple flowers still to come. And my mother and I agreed that we wanted to save it in our little plot. But in all the tearing and shoveling away, despite being careful, we lost the plant, and we felt it in our hearts. Perhaps the honest answer is that there is no letting go. There's only making room for growth, taking space, confronting, finding nourishment. Perhaps it's impossible to let go when there's nothing else to hold on to. At the end of the day, after the compost was laid and the rakes were put away, I drove off aware, alert, sniffing out the faintest scent of hope, sweaty and sooty and hair full of dust. Gosh, It is finally time for planting. It's finally time for trust.
I wonder, what makes trees so intimidating? I decide it is their show of dominance. How despite being warped, a tree always stands at its full height, as tall as the branches need to stretch in order to embrace the sky, soaking up the light of the sun, the moon's approval, soaking in magic. Trees do not need tongues to speak. Their growth itself is a statement of perseverance and strength of reigning glory. Leaves are capital letters. I am here. I am here. I am here. The trees will chatter daylight. Never silent branches converse with the wind. We are here. We are here.
Wrote a poem. Soul is in my hair. Soul is in my tears. Soul is in the serenity on my face when I close my eyes. It's in the sky. But is it always on my mind? Sometimes I try too hard. I'm doing the most. I fret and I cry and I whine and want someone to hold me close. But in a crowd of 3,000, I am alone. Standing is difficult when your feet don't trust the ground. My body shakes from aching and I am crushed. When there is room to spread my body into space, when there is sun to turn my cheek to, when my hair is soft and out, it don't matter what it do. My soul is flittering gold. I turn to all who notice and say, "Watch it glitter now." But no one's ever around, even in the crowd. So I let myself grow wild like the flowers labeled weeds and adapt to my own needs. I dance and sing and snap my fingers when I agree. A lilting voice is something precious, ain't it? Ain't it? Ain't it? I tell you, a lilting voice is something precious.
A promise. There was rain today that came in waves. The first a sun shower and the second gray. And I'm grateful 'cause now my dying plants is saved. At the window I rest my head and soften my gaze over the hood, assess the lay of the land. A big red pickup parks and out comes a man. Some neighbors are friendly. Some won't bother to nod or learn your name, and that's okay. I be preferring the company of ancestors to any of them anyway. I wonder how it all came to be, this place where the rain comes in waves. This place that holds blood and sweat, but also carries rainbows. And no matter how green your grass is, the road's bound to have potholes. And I think about going out to dance in the puddles, stick my bare feet in the water rushing down the street gutters. But I have to write this down instead. A jolt of thunder boasts a promise. There will be plenty of time ahead. I thought about destroying all the poems, all the words I have ever written. But how could I destroy what was never mine? This land will go on spinning, on spinning, won't it? And the rain will give us life. I've got to feel it on my skin now. I cannot guess, I must know. The cool, refreshing release of tension that falls upon all of us resting here now. And I will stomp, and I will let go, and I will stomp, and I will feel whole, and I will stomp, and I will know. I will know. I will know. Full-on healing comes in waves, and it's the rain that's gonna save.